we're going to hang out for a minute, and that's cool. We can always just cut it down, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yep. You can see where it's live on YouTube. That's cool. That's cool.
Proof that it works.
Yeah.
Aha.
What?
To the top left.
Ah, cool. Are you watching it on your screen, or is this someone else?
Oh no, I added this is a live show.
Ah, nice. Cool.
So I don't think, is there any way that we can change the actual background for it? Or the thumbnail?
I do not know, my friend. We've got one watching, and it's not me, unless you're on it. So you guys hang with us. We're gonna get talking here at about 7:55, maybe a little earlier if we can get a couple more in beforehand. But want to give everybody a reasonable opportunity to get up with the stream, just because this is a test run for us. Just hanging out here on the College Loop reaction video to Johni Broome entering the NBA draft. We'll be getting that underway here shortly. If you've got any of your takes about your thoughts on Johni's decision to enter and retain his eligibility, go ahead and drop that in the comment or the chat section now, and we'll make sure to get to everybody's takes and share those as we get going. We're gonna get this show on the road here in just a couple minutes and give everybody a chance here, since this is our first time going live. Don't want to waste too much time, and it's hard to schedule these kind of things. So pretty big news, Dylan.
Oh yeah, you lose Wendell Green a couple weeks ago to the draft, and now Johni Broome, who we thought was going to be the focal point of next year's team.
Well, aside from the Garden of Eden, but yes.
Oh yeah, and of course Denver Jones coming in.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what that's all about. I think that I'll be interested to see everybody's takes here. Officially, the latest start time is going to be 7:55. If we don't have anyone at Eastern, 6:55 Central.
There you go.
Get this thing going on. And sorry, I'm over here on Eastern time, but see if anyone else. We got a couple in here. That's awesome. Great. Like I said, latest start time will be 7:55. If we get a few more in here, just a handful more before, so we will get this show on the road and talk about Johni Broome's decision to enter the NBA draft. And before we really kind of get to that point, Dylan, just checking in on your thoughts. Transfer portal still short and quiet for football. Got a lot of content coming up that way. And, you excited for the Wednesday show, or the Thursday show rather?
Oh, for sure. Talk about what's not going on in the college football transfer portal.
Yeah.
And unless something changes, Auburn Daily Show came out with the episode yet today talking about TJ Finley might be in the portal soon.
Sure. A lot of interesting stuff going on in that world and in the world of the transfer portal, seeing how On to Victory can kind of combat that in and of itself. I'm going to give everybody, for those of you just now joining us, I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes here. Like I said, we're not going to stall too long because this news is breaking and we want to kind of get right into it, but do want to give everybody a fair chance. First first try here. We're on a new platform. We've moved away from our previous, which was Zoom, which sucked. And we're now on a new streaming platform, and really, really excited to be building this YouTube audience. If you're not already liked and subscribed, I'd imagine if you're watching right now, you're probably subscribed because you got the notification. But make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell. Got somebody else hanging out in here. That's awesome. For those of you guys just now joining us, drop in the chat your thoughts and initial reactions to the announcement of Johni Broome that he will be entering the NBA draft. Rather, that was easy for me to say. Want to hear y'all's takes. We'll feature our best ones and kind of talking points. If you guys got questions for us, we're a sounding board. That's what we're here for. Latest start time being here in another 4 minutes, 3.5 minutes or so. And we'll get this kind of show on the road. Dylan and I playing around with some new gadgets and gizmos that we've got, whistles and things of that nature on our new streaming platform. Also curious to hear for anyone who's watching on, I guess, not mobile. Mobile's a little tough to be in the chat, but if you're watching on your laptop or things of that nature, and if you're interested in specific content from us, what you're looking for going forward, definitely a conversation that we're willing to, or not willing, eager to have with you guys, because we want to continue to build this YouTube channel. I'm really excited to have you guys here. Let's see here. For a second, I was about to read out what you not tweeted, but just put in the chat, which is hilarious. Where you're entering the NBA draft. Thank you for getting the ball rolling there.
No problem. I think someone's got to break the dam a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to break the ice and make it not awkward, and things of that nature.
Oh, yeah, I could also do.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, highlight our own response. That's super neat. For those of you guys wondering where Daniel Locke is, he's not typically with us on the reaction videos. That's typically a Dylan and I kind of thing, just because our schedule's a little more lackadaisical in terms of once we're off work, or once I'm off work, I'm off work. So I've got some time for that. And yeah, so Dylan, fun little story for you while we give it a couple minutes. I did take in a dog today. It did happen. He's a pit mix, and he walked into the ballpark where I work. And he had essentially a brand new collar on, and he's a little nicked up on the arm, pretty nicked up on one of his arms. And it looks like that. I don't know that he got hit by anything. I think that someone ditched him and wanted to get rid of him and could not afford him. I think he's very docile. He's housebroken, like what? So yeah. Up to a few in the stream here. For those of you guys still hanging out with us and getting ready, like I said, tops 2 minutes now. And we're gonna get the show on the road, regardless of how many people we got in this room. Just gonna give people a little bit of time to come hang out, and the more that funnel in, the better. And happy to have you guys. So we're gonna get this thing on the road here in under 60 seconds, and we'll be talking about Johni Broome's decision to enter his name into the NBA draft while retaining his eligibility to return to Auburn. We want to hear you guys' thoughts. So make sure you drop in the chat where you're at and what you're thinking about in terms of your headspace about how this affects Bruce Pearl and his recruiting angle now, and then when it comes to the transfer portal. And if you're in panic mode for Auburn basketball at this point in time, I don't think you should be, but we'll get there here in just a couple of seconds. Really excited to have you guys hanging out with us here on the College Loop's first live reaction video. I mentioned a second ago, Daniel Locke not with us this evening. He's usually not on reaction shows with us, so we'll see how that shakes out going forward and kind of play that by ear. We're on a whole new platform, and really, really excited to see the growth here on the YouTube channel, and getting some good reps in riffing right now, Dylan. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. And for those of you guys who just joined, I did take in a dog earlier today, so we'll see what the outcome of that is. All right, Dylan, let's get this thing on the road. Let's talk Johni Broome. Let's talk the NBA draft. Welcome into a College Loop live reaction show. This is our first live show that we've ever done here on the YouTube channel, ever done, period. So very, very excited to have you guys along for the ride, and hope you guys enjoyed as much as we are. We've been really, really excited about the changes we've got going on over here at the College Loop, but that's another story for another time. What we're talking about right now, Dylan, is Johni Broome has entered his name into the NBA draft. I almost said the transfer portal because it's becoming kind of second nature at this point, especially in the midst of football season. So I'm going to go and kick this off real quick. Just read you real quick the key phrases here from Johni Broome's announcement via Instagram. He mentioned at the top, obviously, thanking God and his coaches and his family for supporting him all along the way. Typical stuff. After discussions with my family and staff, and the staff in Auburn, which that's a key word to me as well. As I look toward the future and the next step in my career, I have made the decision to enter my name into the 2023 NBA draft while retaining my eligibility. I look forward to obtaining valuable feedback that will assist me in my lifelong goal of playing in the NBA, and I appreciate all of your support along this journey. War Eagle always, Johni Broome. So let's break this down here. Hello, Lauren. Excited to have you live. always fun to hang out with the lovely Lauren. Anyways, let's talk for a second. Dylan putting his highlighting his lovely girlfriend's comment here on our show. Let's break this down here, Dylan. I'm reading into this, I think, what a lot of people are. I don't think Johni Broome's actually gone. I think that this is one of those things where he's testing the waters. Reminder, the key word here is retaining eligibility. And also another key phrasing there, after discussions with the Auburn coaching staff. Your immediate reactions, let's see where your headspace is at, and let's play both sides. Return / go to the NBA, we'll get there. But your immediate reaction to Johni Broome's announcement.
Yeah, for starters, it did start off with a little bit of a panic because I didn't read all the way through. So I was like, oh, well, this is like a JT Thor player leaving who might get drafted who isn't quite ready for the NBA quite yet. But seeing that he's returned his eligibility, yeah, he's just going to go through pro day. We've seen it happen before where you just kind of see where you lie with a lot of these coaches. And got to be honest, Johni Broome, I don't think he'd get drafted. And I think he's the more likely of the two Auburn players in the draft portal right now to potentially get drafted. But I'd be shocked to believe if he doesn't stay, just because, again, not getting drafted, and you probably make a little bit more money with NIL than you could with G League money right now. So that's where I'm standing. I think he's coming back. I think he's going to be too important to Auburn next year for him to leave. So, I mean, maybe he's just trying to rush BP into getting a center so he can play the 4 again.
It may be a combination of both, Dylan, and I don't think that he's putting the full court press on Bruce, metaphorically speaking. But I do think that this is a scenario, and I genuinely believe that it's in the best interest for Johni to go put out the feelers and figure out where he's at in the NBA realm. What do NBA scouts want him to improve on? Do they need to see him work more at that stretch 4 position and really kind of shift back to playing in a forward role? Are they happy with his ability to kind of be a stretch on a stretch 4 and play big man when he needs to? Are there things that you need to work on, whether that be perimeter game, whether that be free throw game? There are things that you can communicate with when you enter your name into the NBA draft portal that you can't otherwise. You've got to have some kind of perception as to what you need to work toward in 2023, 2024. I think that this is probably, I think it's a safe bet to assume, and you can't assume without making an ass out of you and me. I get that. But I do think it's a safe bet to assume that that is the direction that Johni's headed, as opposed to, I'm getting out of here, I'm getting out of Dodge. People are hitting the panic button. Twitter kind of went up aflame when this came out. If I'm an Auburn fan, I'm panicking on about a 3. I would not be that worried about it. If someone tells Johni Broome you're a first-round talent, that guy should absolutely go. Yeah. Go get your money. If you have multiple teams say, we will take you in the first round, get the hell out of Barn.
And it makes Auburn look better, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm not saying that as a degrading comment toward Auburn basketball or toward Bruce Pearl or toward Johni Broome. But if you can go in the first round, go in the first round. The biggest and most beneficial piece to this right now is that Johni can figure out where he's going to go and then come back and work on the things that NBA scouts have told him to work on and improve his game. And I think that helps everybody all the way around the horn. Now let's play devil's advocate, Dylan. What if Johni Broome doesn't come back? I mean, listen, folks, I don't think it's a large chance. If you do, put it in the chat. If you don't, let me know where your head's at about whether or not you actually think that Johni Broome is going to go through and not withdraw his name by the May 31 deadline. That being said, what if Johni Broome doesn't come back? What if Auburn does not have his presence this year? This team is watching other schools, your Arkansas, go win the portal. And Auburn's yet to really make that kind of move. I mean, Denver Jones, great land, but Arkansas is pulling him in by the load. Syracuse has had an overhaul. We've seen Chance Westry. Hell, he went to Syracuse. So what if he doesn't come back? Dylan, where's your head at?
I'd be shocked, very shocked, if he were to actually go to the draft. But I mean, again, like you said, if someone is offering him a first-round pick and a first-round selection, go, get out of here, go.
Oh yeah, no question.
But that does leave pressure on the coaching staff, what's left of it at least, with Wes Flanagan gone, and because I mean, Bruce is already looking for a replacement for Wes, and with that, you're also going to be looking for replacements for what you think is maybe Alan Flanagan's gone. We don't know yet. We don't know for sure. He's on the roster, but again, we talked about that could just be someone updating the website.
Sure.
But right now, Auburn is in desperate need of a 5, and I believe losing Johni Broome puts them in desperate need of a 4.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I don't think Alan Flanagan starts on Auburn next year. I don't think it's going to happen. I think there are too many players out there who are looking at Auburn from the portal that would start over Flanagan easy. And is Jay Will back? Do we know that for sure?
Jay Will, we're operating under the assumption that Jalen Williams is returning based on some Instagram comments we've seen, some tweets, or social media posts of that nature. It sounds like he's returning, which is a very good thing for Auburn basketball.
Yeah, so right now you're looking at – so the starting 5 per se would be Denver Jones or Aiden Holloway, and then Denver Jones at shooting guard. Then your 3 would be a transfer. Don't know who yet. Matthew Cleveland, please. Please, Matthew Cleveland. Then your 4, you'd hope for Johni Broome and center, another transfer who we don't know yet. There's not been a lot.
I think your 3 is Jalen Williams.
Oh, yeah. I forgot we're operating the assumption he's back.
Yeah, I was about to say, in this hypothetical, your 3 is 100%.
So it's Aiden Holloway, Denver Jones, Jay Will, Johni Broome, transfer. Then the first one off the bench is Trey Donaldson.
Well, you say transfer as if you're operating on the assumption that Dylan Cardwell's not going to start next year?
I'm operating on the assumption that Bruce Pearl knows that Dylan Cardwell is not a starter in the SEC.
Wow. Okay. You guys think,
for maybe Ole Miss.
Or for those of you guys watching at home, let us know if you think that is Dylan Cardwell a starter at Auburn this year. Is that your solution to if Johni comes back? Do you have to go bigger? And what does your starting 5 look like if you're following along with us? I think that he is a starter as of right now. I don't think you have another choice. You need to go to the portal and get a big, but so does everybody, right? And that's kind of the $1 million question is without Johni Broome, with Johni Broome, you're still trying to figure out that 5 position so he doesn't really have to play that stretch 4 converted into a 5. Without Johni Broome, you're in an interesting bog, if you will, where you're trying to decide, is X player going to be suitable to play the 4, and are we comfortable running Dylan Cardwell at the 5? We've got to spend more effort elsewhere recruiting more than one guy now to fill this void, because I don't know that that's Auburn's strongest lineup. I think that as you move from that back court to that front court, that it kind of gets progressively worse if you don't have Johni Broome. All this to say, I do think Johni Broome will be back. I would not panic hardcore there. If he's not, it's time for us to learn and people are going to not like this one, Dylan, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. We're going to learn very quickly if Bruce Pearl is still about it in the portal world to the degree that your Eric Musselmans are about it, to the degree that your Mike Whites are about it. And I know that that's a wild comparison because Mike White's over at Georgia, but look at what he's doing over at UGA in terms of transfer portal. Track record precedes him. And it'll be very, very fascinating to see how Bruce Pearl navigates this, because to be quite honest with you, until today, I don't think any of us expected Johni Broome to enter the NBA draft. I think we assumed we would have heard by now. That being said, I think it's actually not terrible for both parties. With Johni in the draft portal and going to discover and figure out where he needs to improve and what he needs to work on, Bruce Pearl and company can also kind of put out feelers and say, hey, we may have an opening for the 4 position or the stretch 4 position where you could potentially go get some depth there, because you really don't have much of that stretch 4. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Dylan. I think that that's one of those situations where you just kind of have to play the field as if you're not going to return it. If you're Bruce Pearl, you have to play the field as if you're not returning Johni Broome, unless there's been a discussion about this prearranged that unless you're in X number of picks, you come back, which that could have happened. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't have as much as you don't have a clue. I don't have a clue about conversations behind closed doors between Bruce Pearl and Johni Broome. I would like to think, and I think a lot of Auburn fans would like to think, that the decision here was not just Johni's alone. When he mentioned discussions with the coaching staff, you'd like to believe that Bruce Pearl thinks it's in his best interest, but also in Auburn's best interest. So they can kind of put the feelers out. Hey, this is a guy that could transfer for maybe 2 seasons, 2 years of eligibility left, that we think could be a day-to-day starter if Johni Broome were to not return. What if we tell him to come back, come transfer anyways, and the next year the job is his? There are so many avenues here. And I'm really curious. And for those of you who are just now tuning in, thank you for joining us here on the live reaction show on the College Live YouTube. Drop in the comments. We want to hear from you guys. If not, we'll keep ad-libbing, and then that's okay. We've already kind of built out a skeleton. We're good. But let us know what your initial reaction to Johni Broome entering the portal was. Not the portal, excuse me, the draft portal. Like I said, gosh, we've been talking so much football lately. It's killing me. Entering his name into the NBA draft while retaining eligibility. But also, are you guys actually sold on Johni actually sticking with and pursuing the NBA right this moment? I don't think I am. I'm not entirely sold. Dylan, are you sold?
Not one bit. I mean, I look at it from, well, I will add from this point of view, I think that the NBA draft has been declining as of late. At the standpoint, you don't have your studded talents anymore past, like, I want to say like the 4th pick. Is there really a player from in this draft right now past what is projected to be in the top 5 that you could see as a starter in the NBA as we speak? And I mean, that's been the case for a hot minute. I mean, Walker Kessler was the biggest steal of last year's draft and he went, I think, 22.
Big time.
But like after 12, really, it's a lot of no names. Like when you watch the NFL draft, you have 32 picks right there that you are, all right, someone in this draft is going to be a starter this year or is going to be a developmental piece to starting later on in the season. You don't get that with the NBA draft. And I hope Johni Broome understands that yeah, if you get drafted in the 2nd round, it's a long shot to happen for you to even touch the NBA court within the first 2, 3, 4 seasons of your career. And you'll be playing overseas, starting on one of those teams. We've seen that happen before. And it's not not discrediting anybody.
It happen again.
Yeah. That's not me discrediting anybody. That's just how the NBA draft is, because a lot of these players that are still playing are 1st-round picks, and they still have 3, 4, 5 more years left to go. And like in the NFL, if you were to draft a wide receiver, or running back in the 1st round, that's your starter. You don't just draft a running back in the 1st round anymore just to put him on the bench. And that's the thing with Johni Broome is I don't think he's going to be drafted. And even if he does, he's a 6'10" power forward, small forward in the NBA maybe, who isn't better than a lot of these players. He's not going to be a 1st-round pick.
Sure.
He'll probably be a late 2nd-round pick. That's why at the start of the show I compared him to JT Thor, because he looks like JT. He plays like JT Thor. He's a player who's not ready for the NBA. Who
I think he's at this point of his career entering the NBA draft. I think he's better than JT Thor was entering the draft at that point in his career.
Well,
but
it's also because JT Thor was still in diapers whenever he got to Auburn, and I mean, JT Thor got drafted, I think, before Sharif Cooper. Is that right? I think I'm remembering that correctly. He got drafted before Sharif. And I mean, if Johni and Wendell, or if Johni stays in the draft, I can see this draft ending up a whole lot like that Sharif Cooper JT Thor draft.
Sure. You're listening.
And I think JT Thor had more upside than Johni Broome did. I think his offense alone does that. And I mean, this is more of an offensive NBA that we are watching. You don't have these guys driving in.
This is the most offensive this league has been ever.
Yeah. Like, if you can't shoot the 3, you're not winning games. That's been the case for when the Warriors won that first title, 2016, 2015?
15, I believe.
Yeah.
16 was Cavs.
Yeah, 2016 was when the Warriors or the Thunder would have won it if they would have. Yeah, I'm not getting there. Flashbacks. But yeah, I don't think Johni Broome is serious about he's very serious about entering the draft, because he's just not there yet. And I don't know if he will be there yet by just what the pro days and the and the scouts see from him, because we saw too many hot and cold streaks from Johni Broome this season.
Sure.
So much so that we've even gone on a reaction show to Auburn losing, where most of the blame was put on Johni Broome at times. The Arkansas game comes to mind very vividly.
More than one game.
Yeah, where it looks like in defense, he's kind of shut down. Or offense, he just kind of quit making buckets. And I think that probably comes from the fact that he was playing a role that he wasn't supposed to be playing. He's not a 5. He's not a 5. But looking at it from the other standpoint, Dylan Cardwell is not a starter in the SEC. That was hard to say.
That's a whole nother conversation for another time, Dylan. But
yeah, it is.
I don't necessarily disagree. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us here on our first live stream reaction. And this went swimmingly well. Hopefully we can continue to build this. And in the future, we should be able to schedule live shows. So these reaction shows, I think for now, we're going to continue to make live and try to build a kind of a community there yet. He's not, Seahall said he's not consecutive enough. I believe that's in regards to the Johni Broome comment that you meant, I believe, and see, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. I'll build off this real quick, and we've got time for anybody that has questions. We're more than happy to answer or kind of build off of points. I don't disagree. Consistency is just not Johni Broome right now, and that's probably one of those things that those NBA scouts are going to go tell him, is that if you can show us a consistency level where you can be great sometimes and still be good at all other times, you're ready for the NBA. I do think he provides an NBA-esque toolkit, but to your point, Dylan, I'm just not entirely sure that the consistency is where you'd want to see it in a sample size of 34 games. That all this to say, I would still bet on him being in orange and blue, and I mean the Auburn Tigers orange and blue this winter, and I'm genuinely optimistic about his potential to really build some serious NBA draft stock in the 2024 NBA draft. I think that's probably going to do it for today's show. Thank you to everyone for hanging out with us. Like I said, we'll probably try to make these reaction videos. Yes, needs a great mid-range shot. That's something that needs to come along. Could not agree more, Steve. But we're gonna wrap this one up, and we're gonna get out of here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I am Harrison Tarr, by Harrison Tarr on the Bird app. If you want to check out more of my written work, that's on the Auburn Daily, theauburndaily.com. More of my podcasting work available on the Auburn Daily Show every Wednesday with Dylan Larck, which we're about to go record here in a little bit, and every Friday with the legendary Lindsey Crosby. Make sure to hit us up and check out some more of our work, and like and subscribe and ring the bell right here on the YouTube channel. Dylan, I'm going to let you do this, and I'll go ahead and let you. You should be able to end it as well. I think you've got that authority, so we'll find out together.
Yeah, I'm Dylan Larck at your boy the Tank on Twitter. I guess you're watching, it's just kind of like right here. I'm pointing at it right there. That's it. At YABOY the Tank. Also catch my written work on auburndaily.com, where I have only been talking about the transfer portal, because that's all there is to talk about anymore, for me at least. And also go watch me on the Auburn Daily Show every Monday with Lance Stott, and of course Wednesday with that guy over there. I'm still not used to pointing on that side to you now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I forgot it's flipped.
Yeah, and of course, follow the College Loop literally everywhere. If you're just watching, it's on that little scroll bar, but it's the College Loop literally everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, not MySpace though, sadly. And of course, we can listen to us on Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, or Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And with all that being said, this has been the College Loop reaction to Johni Broome entering the NBA draft.